Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am DainatheDoula, a Philly-based birth and postpartum doula who specializes in supporting working moms navigate through pregnancy while working, be prepared for maternity leave, and also be fully empowered and confident to return back to work after leave ends. All right, so let's get into it. So I have 6 reflection questions that every working mom should be asking herself early on in her pregnancy. And if you're not early in your pregnancy, it's not too late, but these are 6 reflection questions to ask yourself before going on maternity leave and to help you plan and prepare for postpartum. You ready? I do this with all of my private clients. I have an onboarding session, and these are 6 questions that we talk about. So the first question is, what are my goals for this pregnancy? Now, the goals can be personal goals, they can be professional goals, but set goals down, right? This is going to be a transformative moment in your life. You will really be seeing what your body is capable of. And it's also a huge lesson in what you do not have control of. You are not in control of really, I would say 85% of this pregnancy experience. This is something that your body is doing on its own. It's doing for you. Now, you can, of course, keep yourself hydrated, eat healthy, make sure you're keeping up with your OB appointments or your midwifery appointments. But it's really like a time where you have to learn early on that you are not in control, and sometimes you have to just sit back and let things happen. So you can either lean into it or you can go against it, right? What are your goals in this pregnancy? Do you want to be in full acceptance of everything and just be in your soft girl era, right? Or do you want to set up, boundaries beforehand? I'm pregnant. You can tell the people in your life, I don't want stress. I don't want drama. Don't bring gossip to me. Don't bring unnecessary nonsense. My mind just needs to be focused on myself and being ready for this baby. That's a valid request, right? And if they don't respect it, then that'll lead me into a question that I'll ask later. But set goals, right? Set goals for the pregnancy, goals that will eventually allow you to set boundaries, because they're really important at this time. Other goals can be that you want to work out more, you want to be more active, you want to, keep up with certain hobbies or activities for right now while you can, right? Before things get a little bit more challenging physically, or you don't have time to do it anymore because you're going to be a parent to a newborn. So think about those things. Write them down and set them in place, because it is important to establish right now. So question number 2, what are your goals for motherhood? This is a pretty heady question, right? Because the first question was, what are your goals for pregnancy? That is just a limited amount of time. Now we're talking about motherhood. We're talking about the rest of your life, right? No, you don't have to figure out the whole duration of motherhood in this one question, but it does allow you the opportunity to think about, maybe reflect on your childhood and think about what you enjoyed the most or what you would want to change the most. I also hope that if things were a little challenging for you or you didn't have the best experiences, the reflection will also allow you to release and have some forgiveness, to give the people in your life some grace, right? Your mother, hopefully, I've heard some pretty extreme scenarios, but it's my optimistic view that people are not intentionally out here meaning to cause trauma and harm. They're just doing their best with the limited knowledge that they have, right? That goes for all of us. So what kind of mom do you want to be, right? And we're tying this into career, right? Yes, you are ambitious and you have goals, and that is important for you to hold on to and to continue to grow and add more to that goal list. But do you want to be the mom that is able to read a bedtime story every night? Do you want to be the mom that, is there for all the school events, that's there for drop off and pick up? Or do you want to be the mom that's like, you have to find a way to reconcile. I stopped myself in this thought. You have to find a way to reconcile early that you cannot be too hard on yourself to try to be at all places at once and be all things to all people, right? Your biggest priority in your life is you and your child or your children, right? And sometimes we let ourselves down and sometimes we let our children down, right? You know, like sometimes kids will remember my mom wasn't at the Christmas recital, but mom knew I couldn't be at the Christmas recital because I had to work to get you Christmas gifts, right? So instead of getting to the point where you are scrambling and trying to be all things to all people, just establish early on, I know what I can do as my best. I know what my baseline goals are. I know what my overlying experience will be. I know the type of person I want to raise, and I know the type of relationship that I want to have with my children. And, you know, sometimes we miss the mark on things, and sometimes it takes us to sit down and have reflections like this to understand why things were the way they were. Like, oh, my feelings were so hurt that, you know, mommy didn't come to my Christmas recital, but we had Christmas gifts that year. And overall, you know, my relationship is great. And that one missed thing where I felt bad in that one moment as a child all makes sense now as an adult. The next question is just an observation. What are some triggers and fears that you should be aware of, right? What are some things that maybe you've been suppressing through your life, or things that are just very much at the surface? What are things that trigger you? What are things that make you feel uncomfortable? It's good to think about it now, address those things. I always encourage my clients to work with a mental health professional, especially early on in pregnancy. I don't think it is realized by most people that depression, things like postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety, they do exist in postpartum after you've had the baby. But there are also mental health disorders that can occur while you're pregnant, right? And if you are someone that works in a career that has a lot of stress and pressure surrounding it, make sure that you are attuned, right, with everything that is going on, not just in your body, but also in your head, right? Like not taking things too personally, not overthinking. This is me. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Not taking things too personally and not overthinking. This is the story of my life. I'm always doing all of those things. But working with a mental health professional, being very clear about, is this something that is a real threat or just my reaction to something that I feel threatened by, right? I think that you'll find the further along you get into your pregnancy, and especially when you are in the moment, you are in the actual moment of labor and eventually delivering the baby in the early days of postpartum, it's the most vulnerable you'll be, right? It's some of the most vulnerable moments of your life. Again, you have no control of those times or those situations, but you want to make sure that you're aware that you can have reactions that are rational, and also having people around you that they don't have to know all the details, right? But they have to respect and protect you in those moments as well. So working with a doula helps with that, and also letting your close personal circle know as well. Your partner should also be aware of it. That can be as minor as like, listen, I don't want a male doctor. I don't want a male physician coming in and doing checks on me. That is your right to request that. And, no questions asked. That just is what it is, because what's more important is that you are comfortable and you feel safe in any environment that you're in. What are boundaries that you need help with setting? Now, how this comes up for me as a doula, we talk about who you want to have in the room with you, right? You might be super close to your mom, but she might stress you out. It's probably not the best idea to have her there, and she won't take it well. So how can we work together to set those boundaries? From a professional setting, right? I will use myself as an example, have always felt the need to do too much. And it was really good to have leadership or mentorship that would say, you don't need to, it's too much, right? Let me take some of this stuff off your plate because it's not necessary for you to be responsible for all the things. What are the boundaries like that you need help with setting? Is it you that has to, work on all the projects and be hands-on with all the accounts or whatever it is that you do? I'm not being specific to any one profession, right? Or at home, what are the boundaries you need help with setting with having stability and peace for yourself? This is important to start practicing now, because when things start to change, right? When you now add a new family member, a new baby into the mix, what can you say? Well, you know what? This just won't be my responsibility anymore because I have now a larger task to take on. So how can we start now with the boundary setting? Who can you communicate that to? As a doula for my clients, that is something that I have just gotten really good at, just being like, that sounds like something that actually sounds like something you don't have to do. I feel like you could probably release that and let someone take that on for you. So what are the boundaries that you need help with setting? You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You do. Is it because you're afraid to have a conversation? Is it because you're afraid to release control of these things? Either way, you need to be honest with yourself and say, I need help with setting this boundary because I'm getting in my own way with this. Who are the most trusted people in your life? Who are the most trusted? You have to think about that one, right? Not just, the people you love, the people you like, the people that have seen you at your absolute worst. And even after seeing you at your absolute worst, still love you the same, right? Are not going to judge you. They might tell you about yourself. You might not like to hear it, but they mean well, right? The people that you can call anytime, day or night. If there's an emergency, they're getting up and they're going right to you. Who are those people? It's important to recognize that because, again, we are talking about ultimate vulnerability and who you can feel safe with, respected, and protected around, right? If we are talking about a situation of labor and delivery, there is a possibility that, again, you don't have control over your body, right, in this time, right? Things are happening. You gain a little control when it comes time to start pushing. But when you start pushing, I'm trying not to be graphic here. When you start pushing, other things might come out. And it's going to be a no judgment zone. It has to be. You can't help that, right? Now, someone like myself, a doula that's seen it countless times, everybody does it, not a big deal. The doctors and nurses, they don't care. But do you want someone in the room where you're going to be so embarrassed by that, or you feel like they're going to bring it up to you and make you feel ashamed about it? No, they shouldn't care either. You're having a baby. So the most trusted people in your life, not just for that, but also, when you are going through the motions, the process of postpartum, that can be there for you, that can stand in for you when you cannot take care of yourself. It is radical vulnerability. And the reason why I encourage this is the best postpartum experience you can give yourself is to let go of and release everything that's not necessary. It's not necessary for you to still be, maintaining your household the same way you would even before having a baby, because your reality is different now. So you have to have somebody that you can trust to get necessary and important things for you. Now, don't be tripping out about whether, some laundry got folded a certain way, or, the food wasn't cooked the way you like it, or it wasn't done the way you would do it. The important thing is it got done and they were there for you to do it. So who are the most trusted people in your life? The list might be very short, by the way, right? Don't be surprised if it's just one or two people. It might be a short list. Either way, you trust them and you are blessed for having them. So my last question is actually a follow-up to the previous question. Who are the most trusted people in your life? So we have that list. It might be a short list, and that's okay. The most trusted people in your life, think about how exactly you want them to support you. Again, this is an early thought starter conversation. It's going to change, right? It might change, might not. How do you want them to support you? So what I find is when you are in the thick of postpartum and you feel like the people in your life are not showing up for you in the way that you would like them to or you need them to, you have to think about, did I communicate what my needs and wants were? I'm speaking directly to myself because I'll tell you right now, I didn't. And I had a huge crash out moment, right? Because I felt like nobody was really understanding what I was going through. And even though everyone in my life meant well, it didn't feel like help. But in hindsight, because hindsight is always crystal clear, in hindsight, I should have communicated. This is what I need help with. Now, as a first-time mom, I wouldn't have known exactly what I needed help with. But as I got closer to it and realized these are some things that I don't have to be responsible for and I don't have to burden myself with, because I'm going to be responsible for taking care of myself and my physical and, my physical healing, and also taking care of this baby. So being very intentional about that. And again, it might be a hard conversation that you have to have with yourself. You cannot be in control of everything. You have to release, even if things don't get done. It's okay, right? As long as you're eating, the baby is safe, nourished, right? You guys have a safe place to be. You guys are, not in any harm or danger. You have emotional support and healing. Think about what it is you actually need. There are some great resources, like there's something called mealtrain.com where you don't want to cook. It's too daunting for you to cook. Put together a meal train account, add a list of meals that you want, and email it. Email it to your people, right? Don't let people just come into your space just for the sake of like holding the baby and no, you don't have to entertain anybody. If you want to come over, you want to come visit the baby, this is how you pay your way into my house, okay? Bringing food, making sure that I've eaten, helping me with the baby's laundry, helping me clean up a little bit, helping me get things straightened up so it's not so chaotic, helping me clean the bottles, sterilize, it is not too much to ask, right? Especially if they are people that you trust the most, they'd probably enthusiastically do it for you. So those are my 6 onboarding questions that I do with my birth clients, my private birth clients, and we just had a session together. So if you want to share any of your answers in the comments, I'd love to read them. I'd love to get your feedback and respond to them. What are some other questions that you are asking yourself or thinking about early on in pregnancy? Let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Please don't forget to like this, comment, like I said, and subscribe. I have more content like this coming. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope this was helpful.